Hi everyone, it's Aga from EurekaCrystalBeads.com and I'm here with another fun beading tutorial for you. Before I get started, just a quick reminder to check out the rest of our channel, and if you like what you see, hit that subscribe button and don't forget about the notification bell so you never miss any of our content. In today's video, we're going to be making these absolutely adorable, cute little earrings, and the star of the show, in addition to the seed beads, of course, are going to be our new colors of ELITE Eureka Crystals. Here I have 8mm Chatons that I'm going to be using, and Mango Ignite and Orchid Ignite. The third new color that we introduced is also Pine Green Ignite. And isn't it gorgeous? They have this little kind of bluish shine, but it's not on the surface. It's more of a like inside the crystal, and they have colored back, so the colors are even more vivid and bright. I absolutely love them, and when I first saw these two, so the Mango Ignite and the Orchid Ignite, the first thing I thought was, aren't they just perfect for Halloween project? I mean, look at this perfect pumpkin earring. It's very subtle if you think about it, but it's so cute, and the Orchid Ignite works perfect with like black, creating this Halloween, like staple Halloween color combination. You can also use some lime green to kind of complement that. And today we're going to be making the second one of those, so the second one with the Mango Ignite. So let me just briefly tell you what else, in addition to 2 Chatons from ELITE Eureka Crystal, you're gonna need. So you're also going to need 3mm bicones. And here I have also ELITE Eureka Crystal bicones. When it comes to seed beads, you're going to need your favorite orange 11-ohs and some 15-ohs as well. I'm going to be using Tohos, but I'm pretty sure this will work great with Miyuki beads as well. Now, because we're making earrings, you're going to need some earring findings. Here I have this earring posts, and because they have their loop oriented like front to back, I'm also going to need some jump rings, and you can use any jump rings that you like that are over 4mm. Here I have 4mm, and here I have some 6mm jump rings. When it comes to tools and other supplies, I'll be using a size 12 needle. Size 11 will be great as well, and if you can't fit your thread through it, you can always flatten the end of the thread with your pliers, and it's going to be much easier that way. For thread, I'm going to be using Fireline, a 4-pound Fireline in the color Crystal. I'll need a pair of scissors to cut off the excess thread, and some pliers to open and close the jump rings. And that's it when it comes to supplies. Let's start beading. Okay, so this is going to be super quick, so pay attention so you don't miss it. You're going to start with about half a wingspan of thread on your needle. That's going to be a little bit too much, but it's a safe length of thread. So if you put out your hand and hold the spool near to your chest, that's how much thread you're going to need. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put on 5 sequences of bicone and 2 11-ohs. So this is what I have. I started with a bicone and I end with 2 11-ohs, and I have 5 sequences on my needle. I'm going to slide them down on my thread a little bit, and what I'll do is I'll go through all of them again, making a sort of a circle. So I'm going the same way that I first came in, starting with that first bicone that I put on, and I go through all of the beads. Now I can cut off the thread from the spool just several inches so that I can weave it in later. And I'm going to tie some knots, just your regular knots where you cross the threads and you put one of them through that loop, tighten it all up, a second knot, and a third one. Now I started with a bicone, so that's where I want to go. So I go through the bicone next to my knot. I go through 2 11-ohs and 1 more bicone. So you want to be exiting a bicone. Just like that. And now I'm going to add 3 11-ohs, and I'll enter the next bicone in this direction. So this one. And I go through just the bicone. So now you add 3 11-ohs in between the bicones all around, so 5 times in total. As you make your round, try to pull tight every now and then, just not too tight because the bicones have pretty sharp edges that can cut your thread, but if you just gently pull tight every now and then, it's gonna be okay. Alright, that's my final bicone here, so I go through it as well as 2 of the 3 first 11-ohs that I added. You can go through them separately if that's easier. And what you end up with is this cute little flower. Now we're going to do actually the very same thing. So I pick up 3 11-ohs and I go through 1 bead, which is going to be the middle one of the 3 that we added in the previous row. Just like this. This is going to be loose. Don't worry about it. And the next one. Right, this is going to be my last one in here. That's the middle bead and the 3 from the first row, so I go through it, as well as 2 of the 3 first beads in this row that I'm currently doing. So that's a full round that I made. And now I look at where my tail thread is coming out of here, so this is going to be my top or my front. And now as you pull the beads together that you just added, you will notice that they start forming a sort of a concave shape in here. And what I'll do is I'll add a single 11-oh, again going through the middle bead of the next 3 that I added in the row that I just completed. Another one, I look at the 3. The 3s are going to be above the bicones. And you don't pull tight yet. Another 3 is just above the bicone. And another one in here. The 4th one. And here's my final bead here. Again, connecting the middle one with the middle one from the 3s in the previous row. And at this point, I can go through the next single bead that I added and the next of the middle of the 3s just to close the circle, because we're going to go through all of these beads again anyways. And because I didn't pull tight yet, I can put my chaton in now. Just have to spread it apart a little bit. You put it with the back facing you and the front facing these lovely bicone beads. And that's when you pull tight and everything comes together. Now we're gonna go through all of the beads in this previous row again. So all of the single 11-ohs that I added, as well as the middle 11-ohs in the 3s from the previous row. If you want it to be super secure, you can go through all of them for a 3rd time. Now a quick tip, if you're using our Eureka Krakowski crystal chatons, some of them, like this Siam chaton in here, will have a slightly less pointed back. It's just a different cut. So if you're using a chaton with this sort of cut that's a little less pointy, you're also going to go through just the single 11-ohs in this last row again, or even twice. So just the single ones, and you're gonna skip the ones from the previous row, from the 3s from the previous row. You're gonna skip them then, and the last 2 rounds is going to be just these single 11-ohs that you added. But since these chatons are very, very pointy, that's all of my rounds on the back. And now I can go back to around the middle of my bezel. So I'm going through the single bead, through the bead in the 3, down through the 3rd bead in that 3, and through the middle bead in the original first 3s that we were adding in between the bicones. So this is where you want to be coming out of. This is what the front is going to look like. And you want to be coming out of here. So we have these nice spaces in here actually. right below the original chatons in the first row, there's nice space here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to pick up a single 15-0, then a 3mm bicone, and another 15-0. And I'm gonna go ahead and just go through the next middle bead in the next 3, which is going to place our chaton right below the first chaton here. Another 15-0 bicone 15-0, and going forward, I'm gonna go through the next middle 11-0 in this next 3, pull tight, and add the same sequence all around. That's my last sequence in here. I'm pulling tight. And now I'm gonna go through the next sequence, which is the first one that I added. And I want to be coming out of the 15-0 that's next to the bicone here. And now we're going to add this bit that connects the earring to the earring finding. So I'm coming out of the 15-0. I'll pick up an 11-0, 4 15-0s, and another 11-0. And I'm just gonna go through the next 15-0 bicone and 15-0. And this is going to be a great opportunity to go through all of the beads, all of the bicones and the 15-0s again, because we don't want them loose, we want them nice and sturdy. So what I do is I just do this last row again, basically. So I go through the 15-0s and the bicones and the 11-0s that connect them, kind of reinforcing this last row. And I'm here again coming out of the 15-0. So I can go ahead and go through the beads in this tiny little, let's say, bail over here. And now I'm not gonna go around again, but I'm gonna go through the 11-0 that's directly beneath them, kind of connecting this 11-0 to this one in the middle, and I'll go up through this second 11-0 in here. This is going to kind of shape this a little bit nicer. So that's the third time that I'm going through all of these beads here, and that will be absolutely enough to hold that earring. So I just go through this middle 11-0, pull tight. I'm gonna go down a little bit like this, just through the beads that are connected here. I'm going to tie a little knot by hooking my thread underneath some of the threads in the beads. I'll make a loop, I'll go through that loop, pull it down, make another loop, go through it, and that's how I make my knot. Now I go through some more of the beads to hide the knot, cut off the excessive thread. Now I went back to the tail thread up here in the front, and if you remember, it already has a knot on it, the one that we tied at the very beginning. So I just go through some more beads, maybe some more beads around in the first circle, and I'll go to the back to cut off the excess thread. Now the only thing left to do is add our earring finding. If your ear wire or earring post has a loop that's oriented to the side, not to the front like here, you can go directly through it as you make this loop in here. So let's say this had a loop to the side, I would just go through the loop as I made this. So I would add an 11-0 to 15-0s, then my earring finding, then to 15-0s, then an 11-0. I didn't add on anything at this point in my case because I have a jump ring that I will have to open and close anyways. So I can do it right now, just like that. Remember to open and close your jump rings in a swiveling motion. So to the sides, put your earring on. In the earring finding, mind the front because we want the chaton and the earring to be facing the same direction. Close it up as tight as you can. And we're done. And that's it for those earrings. Aren't they lovely? And they're super fun and super quick to make, and in these colorways, super spooky as well. I hope you like this tutorial. All of the materials that I used here today can be found at EurekaCrystalBeads.com, of course. Thank you so much for watching and see you in the next video. Bye!